So officially, they're not over, as Anas Malik, our Pakistan bureau chief, said. There are some delusional fans who still think Pakistan can get there. This is what they need to do. The best hope is perhaps get to 400 and bowl England out for 112. I don't see Pakistan getting to 500. There's always hope till it's not officially over. Let's look at what happens if England are going to bat first. Let's turn this page over, because then it gets tricky. Then you sort of, it's impossible. It's impossible. So Pakistan have to bat first. They've got to put runs on the board and try and see if they can put this English team under pressure.
That's right. I mean,
has it ever happened in cricket like this?
No, it hasn't happened. And you know, yesterday we're calling it a Q next to New Zealand's name, and I think that's the realistic result from tomorrow.
Okay, but what do Pakistan take back from this campaign? There is this game. They obviously want to finish with 10 points. At least they can claim a moral win. And as we heard Babar Azam say, that had they not sort of lost to South Africa, and it was very close, that game, then perhaps they would have been in the semis.
Well, they could have done, yes. They've had a sort of a mixed World Cup campaign. They perhaps could have won another, maybe 2, I reckon. But sadly, you know, they had a little bit of a problem with the other fast bowler, and the captain himself was sadly out of form for most of this tournament. He's got a couple of 50s, even then didn't go on to get 100. So I think, you know, if he was able to make a greater contribution, I feel sure that the whole batting group would have been able to give you the sort of runs that you need to either, you know, set a good target or chase it down.
It just didn't come together for them at any stage. You mentioned Naseem, Fakhar Zaman exploding at the end, but he had to miss a huge chunk of matches. Initially he was out of form, then he had that knee injury. So it's not gone too well. But you contrast what Pakistan have gone through with England. And sort of they've had an even worse campaign.
That's right.
And it's also down to them, isn't it?
There was some sense of team spirit and playing for pride that started to turn around a bit, and we saw it against the in Chennai when they, you know, lost a narrow game against South Africa. And that was the beginning of the sort of turning around. And, you know, at least they've shown some fight in that, and that's a good thing.
And obviously the fight led by Ben Stokes. Is it also a moment for England fans to savour? Because that 2019 golden generation, okay, Eoin Morgan had moved on, but this is officially going to be the end. We're probably never going to see Stokes again playing one-day cricket as well. Is this sort of a moment to savour for all English fans?
I think so, yeah. And that's one of the reasons I think also that he's staying on. He's not jumping a sinking ship. You know, he's really keen to see the job through, and through his very personally good efforts last game, they managed to win the game. So, you know, let's hope that he's, you know, was the impetus for more contributions tomorrow, so we can get a really good game between these two sides.
And is the captain batting for his place in? To continue as captain? We have a graphics which looks at England's misfiring batters, and he's right up there. Joss Buttler, Johnny Bairstow, Joe Root, 3 men crucial to that 2019 win, not getting runs this time.
All experienced players, you know, we're not questioning their skill.
The class or caliber.
No, they're not. That's not in question. The form is down. So what do? Do you continue to keep playing, or do you maybe think, okay, let's have a break, give somebody else a go? I would have thought Butler might be time to have a bit of a break, but, you know, I'm not him. We'll soon find out. But, you know, Bairstow can keep, and his figures aren't that much better either. So, you know, it's been disappointing from experienced players.
Okay, let's see if Butler times himself out. Time now to look at Dav Whatmore's key battles for this match. Over to you, Dav. Again, not much to write home for both teams, but David Malan has been the lone bright spark for England. So has Shaheen Shah Afridi, who's unable to sort of hit the high notes we expected of him.
No, he turned the corner though.
But he has turned the corner.
That's right. This boy, Malan, you know, he's been the most consistent. Not that he's made a heap of runs, but at least he's got some contributions more than the others. So he's been very, very good for Team in England. Shane Shodafridi, I think, will be a really good matchup. Still a little bit vulnerable outside the off stump, the outside edge of the bat, and so I think this battle will be a good one to start with.
Okay, next, let's look at the next battle. You've got Ben Stokes and Mohammad Wasim Jr., who's really impressed me. He's shown some hunger which was missing, and ever since he came into that South Africa game, that sort of sparked that turnaround for Pakistan.
I was going to use the same word, spark. He's the one that sparked it up, and a good young player who's showing a real desire to be part of that team. And to be a part of that team, you got to perform. And he's showing the spirit that more of those guys should have been showing earlier in the tournament. Stokes, of course, you know, now in really good form, wonderful effort, and showed us not just a whacking ability, but
he scrapped, and then he took off when it mattered. Okay,
he went about it in the right way.
Let's look at Dav Whatmore's key battle number 3 from the Pakistan-England game. You have Joss Buttler in there.
You might be surprised that I put him in there. I'm really keen to see this battle, to see him if he can actually get some runs. You know, and in his way will be a few medium paces and probably the odd spinner as well. But Hassan Ali, he's also got some really good variations, but they've worked out where his weaknesses are. You know, it's that 4th and 5th stump on a length, and when you're out of form, you reach for it, you feel for it. And I think they'll be looking to see whether they can get him to reproduce that nick back to the keeper.
Okay, let's look at the next one, and I'm thinking you're going to go into the Pakistan battles. Fakhar Zaman against Willie, who is retiring at the end of this tournament. Fakhar Zaman, sort of, that intent had been missing, and we've seen that. And let's look at the next one as well. That's also going to be a batter. That's Babar Azam against Chris Wokes. So you've got 2 of Pakistan's premier batters against 2 of England's premier bowlers.
Premier bowlers, that's right. So it'll be a good one. I mean, he needs to finish on a high, and he's captain. He wants to keep the captaincy, finish on a high, son.